I've heard a lot of people having sex on the cup.
All right, welcome back to Ducks Morning Brew. Man, I don't even know what to say, because last night we all witnessed what was probably the best goal in Ducks history in terms of creativity. I mean, obviously there's been some more important goals than a go-ahead goal against the Buffalo Sabres, but that goal by Trevor Zegras just kind of personifies exactly who he is as a player. And we talked about on the podcast, and numerous people have tweeted out, like, it's a matter of time before he pulls something off like this, whether it's the Michigan or the between the legs shot that he had against Vegas that was saved by Lehner, or the pass that he made between the legs to Milano against the Kings that Milano wasn't able to get on the end of. Like, eventually you felt like this was coming. And man, this was something special. I've never seen anything like this before. I know Datsu tried it back in the day, but he was mostly trying to flip it off the back of the goalie, which Zegras said in an interview was kind of what he was hoping would happen, or that Milano would bat it out midair like he did. But it's just truly a special goal, and we'll get into it a little bit more. And look at some of the other highlights of last night's game against the Sabres. I want to chat about Rickard Rakell a bit, and obviously with his recent play and gelling with Zegras and Milano, what the Ducks should do with Rickard Rakell in terms of either trading him or re-signing him. And then we're going to look at Sonny Milano, the other piece of the duo for last night's goal, and whether this is for real from Sonny Milano. This is a breakout season for the 24-year-old. He's closing out on his career high in points. He's 2 away from that, which he had in 55 games back in 2017-2018. So how real is this for Sonny Milano? What can we expect beyond this season for the kid moving forward? So, but first, we got to get into this goal. We got to get into this goal by Trevor Zegras. Just going to roll the highlight on repeat in the background here just so you guys can enjoy it one more time. I'm sure we've all watched it probably 100 plus times now since last night, but my reaction was similar to Zegras's when he pulled off the move. Is I cannot believe what I just saw. Originally I thought he banked it in off the back of Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, but it ends up getting batted out of midair by Sonny Milano. But this, I can't see a better goal come along to beat this one for goal of the season. Just the creativity and everything that went into it. Not only the Michigan flip, which we really have never seen, plus the fact that Milano bats that out of midair. It ends up counting. It's under the crossbar. McDavid had scored a couple amazing goals where he just blew by 4 guys, and that's not to discredit that, but the sheer balls to pull this off, the creativity involved to get this done, the fact that again the hand eye from Milano to be able to bat this out of midair, like these guys are just on the same wavelength in terms of both of them being able to pull something like that off. It's just unbelievable. It's something that I don't think we'll ever see again, unless it is Trevor Zegras. Like there just isn't anybody else in the league that can do this, and it's amazing that the Ducks were able to get him at 9th overall when they did. I know a lot of teams are kicking themselves right now the way he's playing, but with that assist, ironically, that puts him in a tie with Lucas Raymond for the rookie scoring league. Like, what a way to make yourself noticed, and to get to the near the top of that list is to pull off a play like this. But it's been some run for both Zegras and Milano. We'll get a bit more into Milano later on in the show here, but 8 assists in the last 4 games from Trevor Zegras. His 3 multi-assist games in a row tied it wasn't a record, but the only 3 players over the last 25 years to do that were Barzal, Patrick Kane, and I'm forgetting the third one, but it was another high-profile player in the league. So he's got some good company there. I think there was also something that the Ducks put out in terms of the only Ducks rookies to put over 20 points up in their first 24 games of the season were Bobby Ryan, who did it in 22, and Paul Kariya, who did it in 24. And Zegras also did it in 24. So just an unbelievable run from Trevor Zegras, and this is what we expected, right? Like, over the entire course of the season, we started a little bit slow, sort of the Ducks, but eventually we expected him to just get going, and like the last 10, 11 games from him and Milano and Rakell in this line have been some of the funnest hockey I've seen the Ducks play in a very long time, and obviously Trevor Zegras is at the center of that. In terms of other stories from the game, I think Anthony Stolarz had a really, really good game. The Ducks had some tired legs and already a shorthanded team with no Getzlaf and no Henrique heading into the second and third period. Buffalo really outplayed them because of that. You could see the fatigue, hopefully a little bit of rest here heading into Thursday, that gets remedied a bit. But Stolarz kept them in it. He's now got 2 shutouts in his last 3 games, and a real good bounce back effort from him after allowing 5 goals against the Vegas Golden Knights. And really his last 3 of his last 4 starts, except that game against Vegas, he's been excellent. He only allowed 1 goal in that game against Arizona and had a really great performance there. So he's proving to be a more than capable NHL backup, which has been really good to see, because we always kind of wondered how the Ducks would move on from Ryan Miller, and to be able to get a nice backup in there to help out John Gibson. And Anthony Stolarz has kind of been everything we could have asked for at this point. But the highlight of last night is this goal. We'll continue to probably watch it on repeat for the next little bit here. It's going to be on highlight reels for the rest of this kid's career, and it's something we're going to see pop up every year in the top 10 goals of the last decade or so that are going to pop up. So really a truly special moment for Trevor Zegras, and I know one that a lot of us are going to remember for a while. All right, let's move on to Rickard Rakell, 1/3 of that line with Zegras and Milano, and what the Ducks should do with Rickard Rakell. We've talked about this a few times. Obviously, he's a pending UFA at the end of the year. I'm in the camp that even despite his play this year, the Ducks should still look at moving him at the deadline and getting some younger assets in. And it's not because I don't like him as a player. I think he's a really good player. I think he can be a valuable player for this team for the next maybe couple seasons. More so, I think, is because we've got such a good group of young players on the way. When you look at the way Tracy and Perreault have played in San Diego this year, the fact that Comtois Jones aren't even in the lineup right now, and you've got guys like Pastuov as well that are on the way, Sam Colangelo, a few other rookies, and some upcoming contracts that you have to sign as well that I think are a little bit more important. Sonny Milano is an RFA. Who thought that contract decision would be a big one heading into this offseason? But now it is. He makes 1.7 right now, and he seems like a guy that we see these guys pop off and have breakout seasons around 24, 25, and it becomes a contract year for them, where the Ducks would like to lock him down probably for 4 or 5 years, around $3 to $4 million, and just say, okay, that's what we think you're worth. It's going to be a steal, hopefully, for us down the road if he continues to play well with Trevor Zegras. So I could see them doing something like that rather than a bridge deal and lower money. You've also got Troy Terry and Trevor Zegras that are RFAs in 2 years. You've got Hampus Lindholm, who's a UFA at the end of the year if he's not moved. Jamie Drysdale as well as an RFA in 2 years from now. And I would imagine any contract that Rickard Rakell gets is going to be around $4.5 to $5.5 million for probably 4 to 5 years. Take him to about 32, 33 years old. Or sorry, 33, 34, because he turns 29 in May. So it doesn't make sense for the Ducks where they are right now. I don't think you can sacrifice the rebuild just yet, or the tail end of this rebuild, by signing players like this at the age they are right now. We saw what happened with Henrique, we saw what happened with Silfverberg, and how those contracts aren't really favorable for the Ducks anymore. I fear that Rickard Rakell could fall into that same kind of point here, where the Ducks could sign him because of how well he's played since coming back and playing with Zegras and playing with Milano, and he looks like his old self. But I just think there's too much value in him playing as well as he is, and the contract hit he has right now, and how much less it will be at the deadline. And if the Ducks even wanted to eat more of that for the remainder of the year, it's basically a freebie against the cap for some of these cap strap teams. A guy who's, if the Ducks ate 50%, let's say, that would make less than $1.5 million likely come the deadline. Like, that is a guy who will be at the top of a lot of teams' lists, like Toronto and Boston, who are against the cap and would be willing to bring in a player, or needing to bring in a player of Rickard Rakell's pedigree. So I think personally, it still is a guy you have to trade, you have to move out. I don't think signing him for 4 or 5 years makes sense for where the Ducks are right now. I think they have young players who are going to look to take the step next year. like Perreault and Tracy, who are right on the borderline of playing with the Ducks, and you've still got to work some of those young players like we mentioned and Comtoine Jones back into the lineup. So I love Rickard Rakell. I think he's played great. He's on a 4-game point streak. He's got 8 goals and 4 assists in 17 games. It's been a really nice bounce back year for him, but it's a contract year. And we see that a lot from a lot of players. And I don't think the Ducks cannot get lulled into this fact that Rickard Rakell is back. Even if he is, I think they still need to move him and get what they can for him right now. And we've talked about in the Jake DeBrusk rumors that if the Ducks could send Rickard Rakell to Boston and get Jake DeBrusk back and probably, a 3rd-round pick or something like that, you get 4 years younger. You get a player who kind of projects fairly similar to Rickard Rakell and a shot-first winger who's put up some good numbers in the past. And like I said, you get younger there. And you get a guy who's controlled as a pending RFA rather than a pending UFA, and you can kind of work in a contract that works a bit better for the team and likely a bit cheaper than what Rickard Rakell will get. So, I mean, that's the deal I think the Ducks should be exploring, something like that, to bring in a guy like Jake DeBrusk or a player who can still hop into the lineup right now, just one a little bit younger and with a little bit more control on their contract than Rickard Rakell has. But wherever he does go, I hope he does well. And even if it is with Anaheim, it won't be my favorite move if the Ducks do resign him, but I can see why, just the way he's been playing. And now we move into Sonny Milano, and not a question of is he good this year? Is he really this good, and is this how good he's going to be moving forward? It's really an impossible question to answer right now, and it's more speculation, but we'll dive into some of the underlying numbers here that show you just how good he's been on both ends of the ice this year. His even strength offense and even strength defense, he's been excellent. That line is really just shut down teams in the sense that they've been so dominant on the puck. It's been impossible for other teams to kind of go the other way and get chances. I think the game last night was the only game where this line was negative in Corsi for percentage and expected goals for percentage, and that's just because of how tired the team looked in the second and third period on the second game of a back-to-back. So it's really tough for them to get up for that. But you look at this JFresh card here on Sonny Milano, you can just kind of see how good he's been in all areas, drawing penalties, primary assists per 60, goals per 60. Like I said, even strength offense, even strength defense, his finishing, everything is kind of been top tier this year. He's been such a valuable player to the Ducks, and you just look at his last 4 games: 3 goals and 4 assists, 20 points, 8 goals, 12 assists in 22 games. He's on a 3-game goal scoring streak right now. He's closing in on his career high, which we'd mentioned in pre-show here, was 22 points in 55 games with the Blue Jackets in 2017-2018. And he's got 20 points in 22 games this year. This is what everybody thought he would be, right? When he was drafted, a former first-round pick. And sometimes it takes guys a little bit longer and to find the right spot. And I think the way Milano plays fits really well with Trevor Zegras. And it's an unlikely duo. Every broadcast, you hear the mention of the fact that Sonny Milano was waived at the start of the season. He had a great camp, but he was one of those guys that just was kind of on the borderline of making the Ducks. And we always talk about making the most of your opportunities when you get that call up. And this is a perfect case of that. If you're a younger player in the AHL that's looking to break through, Sonny Milano is a great example to look at of a guy who took advantage of that opportunity that he was given and hasn't looked back. And it presents the Ducks with an interesting decision heading into this offseason, because he is a pending RFA, like I mentioned when we were talking about Rakell here. And that maybe helps you out in potentially moving on from a guy like Rickard Rakell, that you had somebody like Sonny Milano step up the way he has, that you've had Troy Terry take his game to another level, and you've got now 2 top 6 forwards that look like legitimate top 6 forwards when you compare them to the rest of the league. You've got your number 1 center in Trevor Zegras. You've got, again, guys like Comtoine who are going to come back, and Perreault and Pastujov in the system. So you can maybe make way from a player like Rickard Rakell and put that money towards a younger player like Sonny Milano. So, I think, he's for real. I think, you can tend to look at some of these numbers here and a lot of these models, and they can generally tell you if a player is going to fall off at some point. And I think everything points to Sonny Milano has just figured it out. And I know it's only 22 games, and there's plenty of time to go, and next season and the seasons beyond this could present different problems. But when you look at all these models together and you look, check and just the eye test and even just the general points that he's putting up, everything really points in the right direction for Sonny Milano to continue to be an impact player for this team moving forward. And I mean, if he continues to play with Trevor Zegras, I think that's definitely an easy conversation to have, that he's going to be for real, and the Ducks should be looking at locking this guy up for at least the next 4 to 5 years to take advantage of what is a great season so far from Sonny Milano. All right, that does it for this one. A little bit longer. Apologies for missing yesterday. Tuesdays have kind of been a trip to the office day for me, so it's been tough to get the shows out on the Tuesdays. But appreciate you guys coming back out and checking out Wednesday's edition. I know we're all riding high after that game last night and what Trevor Zegras and Sonny Milano were able to pull off. We've got a big game, Sonny Milano Revenge Tour tomorrow against the Columbus Blue Jackets. We'll preview that game a little bit tomorrow on the Ducks Morning Brew tomorrow morning, and look at that and a few other stories from around the Ducks and some of their prospects. We've got some games. I think Pastujov and McTavish play tonight, so there could be some updates involving those guys heading into tomorrow's show. But once again, I appreciate you guys coming out. We do have a watch party coming up on December 12th at 3:30 p.m. Pacific time at Lamppost Pizza in Yorba Linda, I believe. You check our social media for that as well. But yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun. Pat's going to be there. Jason's going to be there. I believe Steven's going to be there as well. Obviously, I can't make it out to that one. It's a little bit of too far of a trip for me. But if you guys want to get together and chat with some of the guys and some other Ducks fans, the last time I was there, it was a lot of fun. It's a great place to get together and watch the Ducks game, and it'll be Ducks versus Blues, the second game of a back-to-back after they play Pittsburgh on Saturday. So it'll be a lot of fun. Make sure you guys, if you can, get out, go check out the game. Like I said, check out our social media for details on the watch party. If you have any questions about it, just shoot us a message either here or on Twitter, and we'll get you all the answers of kind of where it is and how to get out there. But thanks again for coming out, guys, and we will see you tomorrow morning. Take care.